So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the role of the sales force and the process of buying and selling. So this third link, I will say this is very abbreviated. This is an incredibly high-level overview of the professional selling course. And so I do recommend you carefully go through the slides. Professor Kaiser and I teach very similar concepts, and some of them are exactly the same, but some of them might vary a little bit because we're two different people, but they are generally the same. So maybe watch this video. Hopefully you've had professional selling. If you haven't, I would reach out to me and then definitely review the slides. So let's start with the role of the sales force. So the basic role of the sales force when you're thinking about customer-oriented selling is that you're communicating and creating value. So communicating value is you're telling the value, the benefits. Creating value is you're working together as more of a partner to actually develop this value. And you can see here that the value equation is when benefits outweigh cost. This is different per type of customer. If I'm a transactional type of customer, so I go to Best Buy and I buy a TV and I'm not building a relationship, my value is like probably in the price I pay. So the product itself. I got a good deal for a really good product. When it's more consultative selling, value extends beyond just the product itself to extrinsic. So external. So it's in the product, it's in the advice, it's in any customization you can do, it's in the salesperson itself. And then with strategic value customers, you get into being a partnership where both companies are leveraging each other's assets and competencies in order to maximize return for both companies. So it's a partnership. So the steps in the professional selling process. This is where I'm really going to get abbreviated. So you can see the steps here. This is directly from the text we use in professional selling. So a prospect is a potential customer. Prospecting is going about getting that customer, finding the potential customer. So you can look through, these are three different these are three different categories of prospecting. So you've identified a prospect. What do you do next? You qualify them. They need to have the money, authority, and desire to be able to purchase your product or service. So what do you need to know about your prospect? If you were in my professional selling class, relate this to your sales call planning reports. What all information do you need to gather to be prepared to meet with your prospect for the first time? This is also what this research and gathering is, the pre-approach. When you get into approach, that's the first few minutes of that sales call where you're building rapport and introducing yourself. You're using a value proposition. You're telling them why should they listen to you? Why should they care that you're sitting in front of them? Like, why are they why are they utilizing or using their time with you? What's in it for them? From there, you transition to, once you've convinced them, given them a hook, yes, I should listen. Then you go into strategic questioning. So what we teach is spin. So again, a lot of this, I'm sorry, I'm like running through it, but you can read this. So first, Spin is about needs discovery. What is a need? It's the difference between where you're at and where you want to be. So actual state, desired state. So if my actual state where I'm at is that, let's say I'm producing 500 widgets a month, and where I need to be, or my desired state, is producing 1,000 a month. That need is the difference. So that 500 widget gap. And what I come in and do as a salesperson is I help my customer get from where they're at to where they want to be. So I come in with a product, a service, whatever it may be, that helps them get from producing 500 widgets a month to 1,000 widgets per month. And I'm using widgets as a generalization because whatever that looks like is the service or product you offer comes in and helps them fill that gap. So again, quickly through this, here's general problems, needs. Strategic questioning. Purpose of it, you can control the flow of conversation. If you only have 30 minutes or 20 minutes with someone, if they start getting off on a tangent, you've kind of got to rein things back in. It can also help you bring, especially with the implication and need questions, can help you bring light to what's really going on. Also, it helps you be empathetic, or seem, and hopefully you are empathetic, because you're asking them questions, not just talking at them. And then the big thing is you learn information. So you're asking those strategic questions so you can get the maximum amount of information to then craft a specific product or service presentation directed to their particular needs. So Spin is a book that you can read. And I believe if you're in advanced selling, you do read it. Don't quote me on that, but I think you do. So it's the strategic questioning technique, needs discovery technique that we use, and that most, well, I won't say most, I would say 100% of universities with a sales center utilize. So what are the questions? Well, it's an acronym. So it's situation, problem, implication, need. So with situation questions, those are going to be your general fact-finding questions. So here's some examples. That's the highest level of questions. When you think about problem questions, you're going to delve a level deeper. So with situation, you're asking your basic fact-finding questions. With problem, you are asking a further question. How is this? Okay, what's happening with this situation? So what problems have come from how something is? So again, examples. Implication is bringing to their mind the impact of the problem. What is the negative now of the problem they're currently experiencing? So to get here to implication, you first have to figure out what the situation is, what problems are occurring, before you can ask what the impact of those problems are. And then need, I like to think of as positive future. You want to change what's happening. You don't want this negative implication to continue. You are agreeing that you want a solution, that you want this positive future, and this is what that might look like. So, knowing the difference between features and benefits. So feature, that's characteristics of something. Whether that's the company, the product, service. Advantage, what can those characteristics do? And the benefit is going to be specific to your particular customer. So after we've gathered all this information, we've gone through needs discovery, spin, we understand what's going on, then at that point, can we put together a product or service presentation? And that presentation should be based upon your customer, potential customers' needs that you have identified. So again, read through this. There's links in the PowerPoints. I'm not going to go through all of this. The other thing that's going to come along, and in the intro class, we put this just after this step after presentation. This can occur at any point in time, is objections. So here are types of objections. I only talk about types of objections so that you can prepare and anticipate them. But no types of objections. Price is the most common. How do you overcome that? You're going to emphasize value. So a method for negotiating objections or resistance is LARC. And this is what it looks like. And then the last step is closing. You either move forward with, whether it's another meeting or, a deal, or you don't. So again, you have to ask for the business. The biggest issue I see with students, and not only students, I've listened and consulted with companies, and it's asking for the business. Like, come out and ask. Like, you may say all these things and then you just expect them to be like, oh yes, now I'm going to sign up. You have to ask. So there are different signals you can look for. Make sure you're emphasizing value, not just the price. And I would think about to myself, how are value and price different? They're very, very different. But I'm asking you, how are they different? Satisfied with customers, repeat customers. It's much less expensive to keep a customer than to get a new one. So this is the next thing I'll go into.